Oh, when you get up early, look at this. Nobody's here. Like 2 hours early, an hour and a half early. I was up, I'm up, I guess. Could have laid back down. So we're starting day 3. Gonna play the mini main today. Here's a little tip. If you want to not wait through ridiculous lines, show up here at 8 o'clock because there's nobody in line. And they're open. So I came here late last night. They still had a bit of a line. First thing in the morning, nobody's here. So that's a good spot to, a good time to get your tickets and do whatever you got to do with registration. Some time to kill, so I played PLO for an hour and a half. Don't do that. Don't play cash before you go play a tournament. Because I played like shit again in PLO. I just made a terrible call on the turn. And yeah, kind of slightly put me on tilt a little bit. Now I need to try getting off tilt. Get off there. It's just not a bad, not smart. Play that before you go play a tournament. It's gonna be a big, long tournament. So it's just, yeah. Don't recommend that because if your session doesn't go well, then maybe you'll be on tilt and I'm mad. Like I said, I've been running bad and playing bad at PLO here, so I think I'm done. Period. Playing PLO cash here. Maybe I'll try other places, but yeah, don't do that before we play a tournament. So, but anyway, we got a half hour to go, and yeah, that's it. Just a little FYI. Do as I say, not as I do. 2 minutes to go. Nobody's here. I'm just going to steal all the blinds. This is why you buy in early for a tournament. Look at that line. Still going. Look at what, guys? What a freaking zoo. Look at this. They give you a 25-minute break, but it takes 20 minutes to get to the bathroom. It's nuts. They got over 4,500 entries right now. This is busier than the main. Because main is multiple days. I mean, this is crazy, mini main. Doing pretty good so far. I have like 90,000 in chips. Catching some hands, picking some spots. Nothing really to talk about. So, see how it goes. Nothing really to talk about. So, yeah, that's it. So we're on about 35, 40-minute break now. It takes 20 minutes to get out of here with all the people, though. Since the last break, things did not go according to plan. I ran it up from 60 to 90,000, and now I'm down to 50. Just seemed like every time I bet, every time I open, somebody 3-bet me, like, religiously. And I noticed that one guy, he ended up 3-betting me under the gun raise. And then I had king-queen offsuit. And the guy who 3-bet me actually had ace-jack off, which, if he's 3-bet me that light to an under the gun open, I need to be calling. But guy flatted behind. I ended up calling because there was enough dead money in there. I figured I'd see a flop. The guy that flatted on the button actually had aces. And he played it real tricky. He just called it's just a real small bet on the flop. I think he called, but he bet 5 into like 25,000. And it went check, check. And then the river, it opened up the river guy too. It was all low board. Like 2, 3, 4, 8, 7 or something. It induced the guy who 3-bet me to jam. And the guy snap called with the aces. And like I said, the other guy had ace-jack. So it's kind of interesting. Really nothing more to talk about besides it seemed like I just was not hitting anything. I had a couple hands where I bet and I called. Maybe I played a little too loose. I think a lot of these guys, when they call, when like I had to I c-bet the board. It was like ace-9-4 with 2 diamonds. And that was their initial raiser, so I bet. The guy thought about it a minute. He just completed in the big blind. He called. The turn was like nothing, brought nothing in. It was like an offsuit 5. And I felt like, and he checked, and I felt like, boy, he raced before with just top pair. And I'm thinking he could be on a draw, he could be pretty weak. So I double barreled. I guess in hindsight I don't mind that. But he check raised me, and I had 5-3. I hit a 5 on the turn, so I had a pair in the gutter. I didn't remember it was ace-deuce, ace-4-5, and I had 5-3. So with 2 diamonds, and I should have just folded to the check raise because I don't think he's doing that with anything other than 2-pair plus in hindsight. Should have just folded to the turn. I had a pair in a gutter, but if he's already got 2-pair, my 2-pair outs are no good. I'm just calling for a gutter. So anyway, I called, and then the river, I think he bet, and I folded, and he showed 2-pair. He had ace-4, top and bottom pair. Kind of weird on that particular board, how he just turned around and just called, check called, and then just check called, and then check raise. I should have just folded to the raise. Didn't hit my gutter. Thankfully, it didn't hit my 2-pair. And yeah, that's the only hand I really can think of where I lost a fair amount of chips. It looks like 20K in that pot. Can't think of anything else. So anyway, that's it. Great tip. With 5 minutes left, even if, or 3 minutes at least, 5 minutes left at the end of a break, just take off. Don't even play the hands because it is a fucking nightmare everywhere you go with 5,000 people in this tournament. It doesn't matter. I waited in line for like 20 minutes at the pizza place, barely moved. I said, screw it, went in front of the horseshoe, and I mean, it's going to be another 20 minutes. We only got 11 minutes to get back to the tables. No way we're going to get back in time. So, yeah, took off early because the waits are ridiculous. No matter where you go. Break, nothing really new to talk about. I really got really short. I was down to like 30,000, and the guy who opens to death in the cutoff, he raised, and then I just jammed. He had made it like 6,000. I jammed for like 32,000. All I had was ace-6 of hearts, and he snap folded. I mean, he opens so often that, yeah, I really should. I've been learning some of these guys just got to 3-bet more often because they're just raising on nothing. Just raising way too often. But anyway, the other thing is this table is boring as hell. Nobody's talking. And I try, you know, I like to have fun, you know, be friendly, chit-chat, and make the game fun. And it's just like I talk and I joke and I say something, nothing. It's like crickets. And then after 7 hours or whatever now, I've been, like I mentioned, I said, boy, this table's quiet. And then the one guy who hasn't said a word in 7 hours mentions this to me. Well, you're doing enough talking for the rest of us. I said, dude, a half hour goes by and then I say something. I said, I'm trying to have fun because this table is like crickets. And I said, you haven't said anything in 7 hours and you say four words and that's what you have to say? That's what I said to him. He didn't have nothing to say. It's like, I tell you what, if you were watching it on TV, you would have tuned it off a long time ago because there's no chit-chat and no fun, I mean, just, you tried making a joke, hey, how you doing? Nothing. I mean, just, and I think that's rude. If someone says to you, hey, what's up, and jokes around, and they're just nothing, you're just a fucking asshole. You're being rude. I mean, there's one Asian guy that's all right. The rest of them are just, have fun. Poker's supposed to be fun. And if you're a miserable person and you're just not happy and you need to be winning to be happy and you're just miserable, I mean, I think these guys are just played a lot of tournaments and they've been losing, so they're just miserable. Well, if you're that miserable doing something you want to be doing, you pick something else. Because you're supposed to be having fun doing what you're doing for a living, right? I mean, I don't get it. It's just so many grinders are just miserable, and it's like if you're miserable, you got to take a break from poker or find something else to do. My 2 cents, because you're supposed to be having fun, and not just being a miserable, quiet asshole. That's just not a good person. You don't want to. Who wants to be like that? I don't want to be like that. Who wants to hang around like that? Nobody. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I was short. I somehow grinded it up to, caught a couple hands, and was able to grind it up to 130,000. The blinds are like 2,500, 5,000. They're going to be after this break. So sitting pretty good, and I just caught some hands. And I was wondering if they were just people were playing back at me, but I don't know. It's just like a couple times I flopped trips, and one time I 3-bet with aces, and I don't know, everyone just snap folding to me, which is what I like, so I could bluff. But I don't know, all the times they'd be raising, but maybe I didn't have a hand. I just wonder if I was good enough to tell or something, you know, who knows. I don't think so. But I'd like to count my good idea is maybe to count how long you take between acting. Like, do you take 2 seconds when you have it and 5 seconds when you don't? Or, you know, I try to be count 5 seconds every time when I bet, so that I'm not giving off any timing tells. I'm not going to be one of these guys that tanks for 30 seconds and folds. I think there's one guy that's kind of like that, and that's annoying as hell. But that's it. That's all I got to say. Yeah. Hopefully I just keep going and grinding and see how it goes, and hopefully I make day 2. So, and then we'll go from there. All right, we're sitting at 40 bigs right now. We got about 400,000. So, yeah, about 40 bigs. It's break time. All right, 2 interesting hands here. This damn alarm's been going off. It's annoying. 2 interesting hands. Blind versus a new kid that just sat down, young kid. The guy doesn't even look 18. I looked down at pocket 10s, and I raced, and he called. Flop is 9-8 deuce, 9 of hearts, 8 of hearts. I bet he calls. I mean, I bet about a little under half pot, about normal. The turn was an 8, and I checked, fully intending on check calling, and the pot was about 80,000, and I have about 250 at the time, and he turns around and he jams for 250,000. It's pretty much puts me all in, way over bets the pot. Boy, if it was a cash game, you know I'd call in a heartbeat. It smelled so fishy. But why would you jam, right, if you had trips there? I don't get it. But it's my tournament life. Kid just sat down. I have no idea how he plays. So I folded. He told me he had an 8. He's pretty believable. So I guess he did have an 8. I'm not sure why you would jam there. I guess he's afraid of draws. But, boy, he could have got a lot more from me if he bet normal size. And right before the end of break here, it was raised in the mid position. Call. I'm on the bottom with ace 4. It was a min race to 16,000. I call with ace diamonds, 4 diamonds, and gets around to the big blind, and he calls. The flop is ace 10 6 with 2 clubs, and the first guy, the old guy who was in the big blind, who just completed, he jams, and everyone else folds, and he bets about 130,000, which was about the size of the pot. Maybe a little over, and boy, just that jam. I guess he wouldn't bet with it for the flush draw, him, for his tournament line. So I probably should have folded. But most of the time when you see that, the guy's on a flush draw. So I called with ace 4, thinking my pair of aces is good, and he had ace jack actually. So it's kind of surprising with him being as short as he was, with the raise call, why he wouldn't jam with ace jack pre. I think that's the correct play. Especially since people have been opening pretty wide. But he didn't, and unfortunately I lost 130 something there. But I still have about 400,000 in chips, which is about 40 bigs. So I'm still sitting all right. Those are really the only 2 interesting hands. I'm going to go on break now. About 1,600 people left out of 6,000. A lot of people came for this one. Mini main. We're on break. I just got a really nice double up. I'm about 1 million in chips actually. Close to it. And I had ace jack. The guy raised in early position. Guy flatted on the button. Comes around to me. And I could 3-bet, but the guy raised in early position. So I just called the min raise in the big blind. Flop came jack 6-4. 2 spades. So I had top. I checked. The guy c-bet. And the way the guy called on the button, he hemmed and hawed. Wasn't sure he wanted to call. And he called. So he didn't seem very strong. I decided to just call. Turn was a king. Not a great card for me. I checked. And the pre-flop raiser checked, which is good. I was surprised he didn't rep it. I'm not sure what I'd do. It came around to the guy on the button, and he bet pretty big. A half pot or so. And I'm like, you know, the way he called that flop, I'm not convinced that he necessarily has a king here. So I don't think he's real strong. So I called. River was a jack. So I hit trips. And flush didn't come in. And this guy's real active. So I checked him, hoping he'd bluff. And he did. He shipped it all in. And I snap called. And it was a lot of chips. It was a good double up for me. So we're on break now. That's the only real big interesting hand I had. The guy had pocket 5s. So I was right. He wasn't very strong. He wasn't sure he wanted to call the c-bet, but that's what he had, pocket 5s. Fran in the mini main. Hand for hand on the bubble. Didn't video it, but right in the money. Yay! Yay, we're all in the money. Oh, look at those smiles. We're all happy now. We're in the money. $1,000 richer. So I am down to like 8 big blinds now. I'm super short. Ended very tilting. Number one, they shouldn't make you play fucking 15 hours straight. I started at 10 in the morning. It's not 1 in the morning. It's 12, 13, 14, 15 hours straight I played. That's ridiculous. World Series has got to get shit together. I mean, 15 hours straight is asinine. Of course, the last 2 hours, I'm just tired. I don't feel like playing. You know, it's just, that's way too long. So, I made day 2, but I have next to no chips. The big thing where I lost most of my chips, like I had 850,000 in chips, and the blinds were 10 and 20. So I had a ton of chips. It's sitting good. And the guy raised to 50,000. It was 10 and 20, 10, 25, something like that. He made it 50. And then the guy behind him, I know he jams light because he's been jamming a lot pretty short. So he jams for 260, which is like 10 bigs, right? So I know he's got something, but I just got a sense he's not strong, really strong. I have it down at pocket 10s. So he jams for 260. I guess in hindsight, boy, I don't know. So I didn't even think about the initial guy that min raised open, but he was opening a fair amount. So it's kind of like, I don't know. So anyway, so I called the 260, and then the guy who originally min raised, who, I don't know, he just doesn't seem like a real good player, he turns around and he jams for 380. And I'm like, fuck. You know, and it's only 120 more. We got a huge pot now. And, oops, excuse me. Oh. Jeez. Okay, so we got a huge pot. It's only 120 more. And how much is in there? 600. Something like that. Like another 160 to call. Something like that. So anyway, I just called, but you know, part of the problem was the dealer was like, he said 216, then 260, and then the guy said next to me on my left said, no, it was 216, and then the dealer got all rude at me, no, it's 260 or something. I'm tired, and I'm like, you just kind of put me on tilt with him saying no this, and you can't understand him. And I was just like, fuck, and I'm not happy with the guy who jammed, because I'm like, he's got to have a monster too. To have, you know, a guy jam for 11 bigs and me call, and then he rejams. It's like, oh, but it wasn't for that much more. So, long story short, he had pocket queens, and I don't know. I have to figure out the pot odds on whether or not I should have stuck around there. But that was a huge pot. That crippled me. So now I'm down to like 400,000, 300,000, something like that. 400,000. So. Anyway, there's an old guy who's a real nit. I'm just playing bad, I think, because I'm just so tired, and I'm kind of half on tilt. I went for a walk, so I'm not so much on tilt. But anyway, he raised under the gun, or it was kind of mid to late position. I'm in the big line. He min raised. I called. I had king queen off. I almost folded, and because, well, he min raised. I called, and then he bet. I folded. He showed top set of queens. He had pocket queens. Right after that, he raised again, and I had king queen off in the small blind, and I almost folded because I'm like, this guy never plays a hand. King queen off out of position. I should just muck it. I should have mucked free. I almost did, but I called. Flop from ace 10 9 with 2 diamonds. I have king queen with the king of diamonds. I had back row diamonds. King or queen of diamonds. One of them was a diamond. Might have been the queen. And so I got a gutter, but I didn't think he was strong. He only bet like 50,000. He just bet like not even a third of the pot, or 30,000. It was a real small bet, like min bet. And so to me, that just screamed weakness. So I raised to 80,000, and he hemmed and hawed and thought forever. I thought for sure he was going to fold. And then he called. Turn was an 8, so it was 10-9-8 on the board. Ace 10-9-8. Wish I had queen jack. I should have done it with open-ender makes more sense, but just with a gutter there, I don't know. So I'm out of position. This is a huge spot. I almost wonder if I jammed, would he have called? He might have folded. I don't know if he was doing an acting job or if he was really that weak. I felt like he was that weak. I should have just gone with my read. Right afterwards, he's like, well, you took me off the bet. So it felt like maybe he had ace queen or something, and when I checked, he figured he was good. He wasn't sure on the flop, but I'm not sure if he folds anyway. Ace queen or ace king there. He might have. He tanked forever on the turn. But anyway, I'm like, what am I doing getting involved with a guy with king high, raising him, getting super involved with a guy who's a nit? What am I doing? You know, I'm just pissing away money. I'm getting involved with a guy that barely plays a hand. So I am just not very happy with how things are going. So now I'm down to like 250,000. I got 10 bigs, and just things are going my way. We break the table, I get to a new table, and I have ace jack off in the cutoff. I got like 10 bigs. I jam. Both people fold. Right after that, very next hand, I have pocket queens, and I'm like, boy, if I jam again, this is gonna look like I only have ace high, or I'm just jam. It makes me look weaker than I really am with pocket queens. So I jammed again. I thought it looked weaker, and the guy with like 9 bigs tanked forever on the button. He finally folded. I was hoping he'd call, and took that down. So now I'm up to like 450,000. You know, I've got like 15 bigs or something, 16 bigs. So the hand that really put me on tilt, this guy was splashing beer all over the place, drunk as a skunk, fucking idiot. He's been drinking. I sit down at the seat and there's beer all over this rail and stuff. He doesn't bother to wipe it up. I have to clean up his mess. And so this schmuck, he turns around and he raised under the gun. Just a second here. So he raised under the gun, and I'm in the big line, and I would have just folded, but and I have no idea how he plays. I just know he's been drinking, but apparently I was told afterwards that he's been raising from every hand and playing silly. I just sat down. I had no idea that was the case. Only 2 hands I played, I jammed. So anyway, raised, got on the button, called, and it was a min raise. So I looked down at ace 7 off, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm not thrilled about it, but for a min raise, I wouldn't have called unless there was extra dead money in there. But with that extra dead money in there, I called. The flop come queen jack 6 with 2 diamonds. So I check, fully intending to check fold, and it gets checked through. He checks, the other guy checks. Okay. The turn was an offsuit 5, so didn't change anything. And I'm thinking, I checked naturally to the razor, and the guy on the button, if he had anything on that queen of diamonds, jack of diamonds board, he would have bet, I would have thought. So I feel like this is a perfect spot to rep a queen. So I bet 80,000. Now I only have 240 behind, like, so it looks really strong. I bet it had like it's like half pot, and this guy under the gun, he tanks forever. I was ready to call the clock on him. It was the last hand of the night, very last hand. And he's tanking. I thought for sure he was going to fold. And I just sat down. He has no idea how I play. It made a lot of sense. My line made a lot of sense. I could easily have a queen or a jack. Easily, right? So I bet. And I guess apparently he didn't really have a clue of checking to the razor or anything, but I didn't know that. I didn't know how he played because I just sat down. Well, he tanked forever, and then he jammed, and then the guy on the button folded. I expected him to fold, and of course I had to fold. And he shows me 6-9 off. Like he had fucking nothing. 9 high. He's like, oh, thinks he's funny, and I'm like, just put me on tilt because obviously I have to fold there, but. And then everyone was telling me, you can't fold to that guy. He's been raising. Even the dealer said to me, he said, dude, you can't fold to that guy. He's been raising and jamming like crazy, like all night, drinking, playing silly. I'm like, well, that's the thing that sucks moving to a new table. I had no idea this guy played like that. I just sat down. So if I had known that, I wish I'd gotten there a half hour earlier and I'd seen how silly this guy played. I mean, maybe I would have called ace high. Maybe, I don't know if I saw that he thanks forever bluffing. I don't know. I might have called. I don't know what I would have. It just didn't make a lot of sense though for him to check on that flop. I should have thought about it longer. I just snap folded thinking ace high can't be good here, but honestly, is he really checking queen of diamonds, jack of diamonds into two people with like a set of queens or aces or something that he's repping? Because that's what he's repping, right? He's repping a monster. What can he have that's a monster that checks that flop? I should have thought about it longer. So, anyway, I folded and he showed that, and that was it. So now I'm down to like 8 bigs. Got like no chips for one on day 2. More of the story is I just 14 hours, 15 hours is way too fucking long. The World Series of Poker should not make you play that long. And yeah, I made the money. Yeah, I made day 2, but I'm super short, and I'm just not happy because of I expected to be sitting wonderful in chips, not sitting with like 7 bigs because some drunken idiot jamming 9 high. Yeah, I don't know. So maybe I should have just jammed. Yeah, I should have just jammed the turn. That looks stronger, don't it? I mean, yeah. When it comes around to me, I just jam. Of course, you don't expect someone to play silly like that, but if I jam the flop, if I jam the turn, I think it gets through. So, I don't know. It's hard to stay focused and play well after you've been playing for 15 fucking hours. It's ridiculous. It should not make you play that long. Anyway, guys, I know I was rambling on there, but I don't know how many watches I got of this anyway. But yeah, just unfortunate set of circumstances at the end there. Being that I have no idea how the guy plays, I have no idea how anyone plays, and it's just sat down. Maybe I shouldn't get involved. I mean, it's a good move, but maybe I shouldn't even get involved because it's the last hand of the night, and I thought they look stronger in the last hand of the night. Because most people just fold, they don't care. But I don't know. It's probably not smart to get involved until you learn more. Like I've said that before, how players play. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed something, got something out of this.